Hi there, good afternoons, greetings, and salutations. My name is Jake Query. That is the very stoic Derek Schultz. It is the incredibly creatively, and appropriately named now charitably award-winning Query and Schultz program here on ISC Sports Network. Derek, I have never been more elated for any week in the history of this show. And we've done, and I'm going back to the radio show. So we did how many years of radio together?
8.5.
That's 9.
Okay, sure. 9.
I think I've been telling people now 12.
Oh, yeah. It just increases every year since we've been fired.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we have done how many of these programs?
This is episode 133. So 133.
Okay. So I have never, in the 133 episodes of this, or how many shows did we do in radio, do you think? We had to have done.
Oh, God.
3,000?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So in the 3,100 and whatever number of shows that we have done, I've never been more excited than any point right now today on this, the whatever we are of April.
Why is that?
Because this is the last time that we have to talk about the NFL draft.
Yes. The last time I have to talk about the NFL draft, you have tomorrow morning's Kevin and Query, Wednesday morning's Kevin and Query, Thursday morning's Kevin and Query, and then reacts Friday morning, Kevin and Query.
You know, also the IndyCar documentary show that 100 Days to Indy.
Yeah.
That premieres Thursday night at 9 o'clock.
I just IndyCar. We love IndyCar, don't we? If IndyCar didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck.
But Derek,
right?
it will be available on streaming.
Okay.
From CW and Vice, right?
It's a premiere on the night that the Colts have a top 5 draft pick in Indiana. I think specifically, I understand IndyCar has people outside of Indianapolis that follow IndyCar, right? But when it comes to Indianapolis storylines, I just feel like it bumps up against big ones far too often.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But the draft week is here, and for the Colts sitting at number 4, it looks like, and I still believe they're going to stick at number 4. I know some people think there's a possibility they could move up to 3. Things continue to change, like constantly moving. And Derek, you and I have talked about this. We knew when the draft was first laid out that Bryce Young or CJ Stroud was going to be number 1. And then you knew that there was going to be somebody that was a workout warrior that through the combine skyrocketed. And now suddenly Anthony Richardson's like right there in the top 4. And that there was somebody else that was going to slide because they didn't test well or they didn't present themselves well. And Will Levis fell out and now he's back into the top 4. And now there's a new test that nobody's heard of until 3 hours ago that's all the rage that predicts whether or not a guy has the intellect to be a star, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's all kinds of movement, but the Colts are going to stick, I believe, at 4. And is CJ Stroud going to fall in their lap?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's funny to follow kind of the ebbs and flows of specifically the quarterback rankings when it came to the draft, because you're right. When the season first ended, we thought, okay, it's between Young and Stroud for number 1. And then early on, it looked like the Panthers were all in on Stroud, right? When they made that trade. And then suddenly that kind of faded away, and then it became, well, the Panthers are in love with Bryce Young. And then we had the combine, and then you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, it's going to be Young, Stroud, Richardson, 1, 2, 3, right. And the Colts will be left with QB 4. And now it looks like it's Young 1, and maybe the second quarterback's not taken until the Colts. But the team that holds all the cards here, Jake, is Houston. What Houston does at 2 is going to dictate everything else.
Right.
I think for how the first round is going to go. Certainly the rest of the top 10 is going to fall in line based on what Houston does.
Now, could Houston – I have not even heard this possibility presented. I mean, obviously it's out there, but I haven't heard a lot of speculation on this. Houston's at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Houston needs a quarterback. I mean, Davis Mills.
No, they need a quarterback.
Houston knows they're Houston is not a quarterback away from being suddenly a good team. So they would theoretically be in contention to draft high next year as well. It's a dangerous game to play. I believe, Derek, we have heard all along that there are 4 franchise quarterbacks in this draft, in no particular order. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. The fact that you have a team who needs a quarterback at number 2, and it's possible that they don't even go quarterback, tells me this is not a draft with 4 franchise quarterbacks. This is a draft with 4 franchises that are in desperate need of a quarterback that are drafting in the top 12. And that, therefore, you have 4 guys that are quarterbacks that are going to go high, not because they are players who in any year would go high, but in a year where there are teams desperately needing a quarterback drafting high. But my point being this, if the Houston Texans have the number 2 overall pick in the draft, and the Houston Texans are in desperate need of a quarterback and have never had a true franchise quarterback, and they still go defense, what does that tell you about the quality of these quarterbacks?
Well, I don't think it's a knock on the class. Look, I don't think Houston's passing on a quarterback. I don't buy it. I know what all the draft smoke says and all that. I don't buy it that they're not taking a quarterback. But I don't think that's an indictment on the class at all.
I think your sweater here.
Thanks.
Is that a sweater or pullover?
It's a sweater, but it's got a hoodie on it. It's nice.
So it's a hoodie.
Beauty is in the sight of the beholder.
Where did you get the sweater?
This is J. Crew outlet. Beauty is
Outlet.
in the. I can't afford the. You go in the real J. Crew, it's like $90 for a sweater. It's crazy.
How much at the outlet?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It came with significant savings.
Urine stain on it, like the pants.
I let you talk. Just let me talk. So relax.
You did buy pants once with a urine stain, right?
Okay. Yeah, we're like 1,000 whatever episodes into this thing. I'm not doing this thing all over again.
You have though, right?
Beauty is in the sight. See, I don't even know the saying anymore because you got me all messed up.
Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah,
like, for example, if you go into an outlet and there are pants with a urine stain, if you like them, that's all that matters.
Let's start over. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, Jake. So I don't think it's an indictment on the draft class. If Houston doesn't like any of the quarterbacks, then they don't take one. Carolina and Indy and Atlanta and Vegas, they're all going to feel differently. Clearly, Carolina liked Bryce Young a whole heck of a lot.
Right.
Or like this class a whole heck of a lot to get to number 1 and then make the decision from there. So I think it's just sort of an objective thing, not a subjective thing in evaluating these quarterbacks. A lot of people – oh, sorry, I've got my phone going. A lot of these scouts and all of that
3,000 of these, and you can't mute your phone.
Have first-round grades on these quarterbacks. Almost universally from what I've seen, certainly the top 2 have first-round grades in Stroud and Young, and I think a lot of people have Richardson with a first-round grade. I think the one that is kind of a question is Levis.
See, I think a little bit all over the board. I think Richardson seems to have more of a question mark than Levis.
But Levis is...
The guy that nobody talks about in any of this is Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee because of the injury and because of the age. But that's the other curveball is like a Houston. Could Houston take the 2 pick and say, we're going to drop back and let Atlanta – where's Atlanta, 10?
Well, Houston drafts 12 too, don't they?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But
that's probably waiting too long.
On Hooker?
No, not on Hooker. If you want to get
if you're
one
Houston,
of these top 4.
If you're Houston, do you slide back? Do you say, look, we'll take a second round and your first rounder, 28th overall, whatever, slide back. You got the 12, you got the 28. Do you take Hooker with one of those 2 and load up on other picks, other assets?
I mean, you could do that, but again, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because you don't know how the board is going to fall. So you could do that, but it's a massive risk to do that. Or wait for one of these quarterbacks to fall to you at 12 because Levis is now the Vegas favorite to go at 2. But I just don't – I don't see all this stuff that they're talking about here. Houston not taking quarterback, the Colts being in love with Levis. Like let me tell you,
are
those things possible? Sure, but people are acting like those things are certainties, and I just don't buy it.
So – 2 things here. Kevin Bowen, who you mentioned I do the morning show with, made a really good point about CJ Stroud, which I didn't realize. CJ Stroud's agent is the same as Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had a very ugly divorce with the Houston Texans, largely the fault of Deshaun Watson, admittedly. But he had a divorce nonetheless. That agent has 0 players. 0. I've heard that before. 0 players that agent represents play for the Houston Texans. So are the Texans gun-shy on C.J. Stroud for that fact? We don't want to deal with this, whatever. That's entirely possible. Secondly, in terms of Will Levis, I think I told you, during the Combine, and again, I mean, they could have been totally lying to me. During the Combine, I had somebody who I trust and know pretty well who definitely would know the inner thought process of Jim Irsay. I'm telling you right now, Jake, Jim Irsay loves Will Levis, loves him. Now, what it's going to come down to is I don't think Chris Ballard is in love with Will Levis. But when Jim Irsay a couple of weeks ago started hedging on how much security that man Chris Ballard has does that weigh in the back of Chris Ballard's mind when it comes down to it and he's got a tie between a couple guys or he's leaning one way? Does he say to himself, but the guy that signs my paychecks really likes this other guy?
Yeah, this whole thing it's fascinating, isn't it? Because there's so much at work here. It's not just the evaluation itself. It's getting 10 people, 12 people, 15 people, however many people the Colts put in that room. Because it's not just Irsay and Ballard. You put everybody in that room, your brass, your brain trust, right? And you say, okay, who do we like? And getting everybody to come out in some sort of a unanimous agreement or at least a strong majority agreement of who that's going to be. Jake, I'm just going off how the Colts handled the coaching search. And how the Colts clearly handled the Colts coaching search was that it was Ballard's call. Now, Irsay still has to sign off on everything, but I would think they're still approaching it that way. We're talking a lot about Chris Ballard's job security. I don't think Chris Ballard's job security is in question in the mind of Jim Irsay right now. Now, if you ask him at the end of next year or the year after that, that might be a different one. But right now, I don't think that that's front of mind for him. So I don't think they're approaching that thinking even, Ballard probably is because you have to be at this point, right? You're in year 7. This is a huge decision. You have to get this decision right because if you don't get it right, you're not going to be the general manager of this team anymore. So I think it does weigh in a little bit with Ballard. I think we'd be lying if we said that it didn't. But that's what's so fascinating about this whole process. I mean, what if you're approaching this like it, and we have as well in the media has been approaching this like it's Levis versus Richardson. What if it's Levis versus Richardson versus Stroud? Because in all likelihood, at least from all the whispers that everybody's saying, that's what it looks like the Colts are going to have the choice of.
If the Colts are up on the clock, they got the little phone with the helmet. They still have those?
I don't think they have the helmet phones anymore, no.
If the Colts are on the clock and the clock is ticking and CJ Stroud is available, it should be the fastest card turn-in in the history of the National Football League. You take CJ Stroud and you don't blink. You go.
Stroud to me, and we've talked about this, Stroud would be my pick as well. I don't know if it's because we've had, what's it been, 2.5 years to talk about the NFL draft?
Derek, let me say this.
That's how it feels.
I want to make this very clear. I'll even look at the camera and say this directly, okay? This is a very clear declaration on my behalf. My name is Jake Query. I'm a native of Indianapolis, and I am a fan of the Clemson Tigers in college football. Not necessarily because of my Clemson allegiance, but just in general in growing up in Indiana. I hate Ohio State. Hate. I respect them. I have friends that root for them. I don't hate their fans. I just hate Ohio State. But I love CJ Stroud. I think he's a great talent. I think he's a great size. I think he's accurate. I think he can do things with his legs. I think he looks like Jalen Hurts at times, but with a more accurate and a better arm. And Shane Steichen did wonders with Jalen Hurts. If CJ Stroud is available, I will personally drive a Mayflower truck to Columbus, Ohio to pick him up and bring him to Indianapolis. They need to draft CJ Stroud if he's available. I don't think he's going to be. But if he is, that's who you go with.
Stroud would also be my pick because he, I think, leaves the least up to chance of the players that are left. I still think Richardson if Richardson hits, he's going to hit really big. And
Richardson's Cam Newton, right?
I don't know if Stroud is going to if Stroud hits, I think he can be really good. I don't know if he's going to hit like really big. Like Richardson to me, and we're talking again pie in the sky, which has become like our favorite saying on this show, right?
No, that's yours.
Richardson pie in the sky is like Mahomes level transcendent player.
Right.
That's if he really, really, really hits. Whereas I think Stroud's ceiling is probably a little bit lower than that. But yeah, gun to my head, that would also be my pick if he's there at 4.
By the way, it's not a pie in the sky, but a pie on the ground. And in multiple areas around Indiana, Derek calls them pie. I call them pizzas.
Yum.
Lou Malnati's. We are inside the Lou Malnati's studio. Lou Malnati's, of course, with their dine-in option on Ferguson in Broad Ripple. Absolutely spectacular. You're talking about a cozy environment on the inside now. Of course, they can open up for essentially outdoor dining. Fabulous bar there, and traditional style pizza and a wide array of menus, including wings as well. All at Lou Malnati's, but Derek, it's not the only place that you can find Lou Malnati's, right?
No, 5 Central Indiana locations.
They asked
like,
actually.
5.
No, they asked the other day for me to do that because my hand is more visible.
5 Central Indiana locations.
What was that?
Lou Malnati's? Nothing. I'm just showing a 5.
Why are you?
5 of them.
Why are you chewing your lip?
I'm not doing anything with my mouth.
Are you constipated?
I'm not doing anything. This is a natural
okay.
flex there.
5, right?
Avon, Greenwood, West 86th Street across from Brebeuf High School, Carmel and our favorite, the dining location in Broad Ripple, where I will be for Dine to Donate for St. Thomas. They're doing that this week. Yeah, for St. Thomas Aquinas,
What day will
where
you be
my
there?
son goes. I have to check with my wife to see which day that is. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Tuesday. I gotta look. We registered and everything, so I'm excited for Lou's Pies.
Are you going to wear your little
And we have our
sweater?
QNS Friedel.
Right here. Right there.
I always point the wrong way.
Right there.
QNS FREDEL 23, free delivery from any of those Central Indiana locations. If you call it in, just give the code. If you go online, obviously type in the code, free delivery from us.
Look, they've been
Thanks
great to us.
Lou
Lou Malnati's, thank you so much. It's been great to us, Derek. So we certainly hope that if you are enjoying this program or simply watching it, you don't have to be enjoying it, but just watching, that you keep in mind that Lou Malnati's has been good to us, and hopefully you will pay that forward.
Order.loumalnatis.com. The winner, I guess who's cooking for this week, I think you have to go ahead and go with, and we're stepping out here of the NFL conversation. We'll get back into it in the next segment. I was hesitant to do this because some people know my personal leanings towards this franchise, but I just don't know how you could watch Game 3 and Game 4 with the Garden just being on fire and not be at least a little bit amped up for the Knicks to see some semblance of success after the 20 years that they've had. Won both games against Cleveland. Game 3 was a blowout, and it was an electric atmosphere. Game 4 on Sunday was kind of a back-and-forth affair where Darius Garland had a huge third quarter. Cavs
Good
came
player.
all the way back, and then Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, who's been fantastic, made some big plays down the stretch. But it's good to see. The Knicks are on the verge of winning their second playoff series since I graduated high school. That's by far the fewest.
Can I guess the other one?
Yeah. You're going to know it because it ties into the Pacers.
You graduated what year?
01.
They didn't beat the Pacers, right?
No, but they played the Pacers in the second round.
Oh, that was the Roy Hibbert.
Yeah. That was
block.
the Eastern Conference semis in 2013.
Gosh, okay, so I can't recall who they beat. Atlanta?
Now, the last Boston team that had Pierce
Boston.
and Garnett, and then before they ended up giving them all the way. Remember, they traded them to Brooklyn for all those picks and ended up being a disaster for the Nets. Brooklyn.
Thank you.
But the Knicks beat the Celtics in 6 in the first round, and that is their only playoff series win since 2000.
There have been some decent playoffs, though,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I mean, Miami and Milwaukee is really interesting because you got Giannis who's out, and that has, Milwaukee's been struggling without him. Now you have poor Victor Oladipo. Did you see that?
I know. It's awful.
Is that the end?
I mean, I don't know if it's the end, but if you were still kind of hoping that he would ever become the player that you thought he might be, I mean, all that post all these injuries is completely out the window.
It's terrible of me to say. Terrible of me to say because you never wish injury on a player. But, man, the Pacers dodged one there, didn't they?
Yeah, it's
Because
really,
can you imagine if they had given him
what's so heartbreaking for him is it really is, Jake, in my memory, and your memory goes longer than me because you're much older. It's one of the worst individual business decisions I think anybody has ever made before. Now, a lot of that is hindsight, but Oladipo turning down what would have been a massive
hold on.
extension.
There's that fella that was one of the original owners of Apple.
Okay, well, that's not in athletics.
He cashed out for like
$37. Yep. Yeah, he got $37.
Yeah, and that was Righteous Bucks in '82, right?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, I am getting some Nike waffles, and I'm
Yep.
out of here. And then that's now worth $37 billion,
Yeah,
right?
probably. Way up there.
That guy's got
So, yes, there are other individual decisions that have been bad, but that Oladipo one, man, it sucks because I love it when guys bet on themselves and they win, but sometimes you bet on yourself and you lose.
Yeah, so he turned down, and it's always been debated whether or not the Pacers officially offered him an extension. But seemingly he turned down the opportunity for, $80 million, went into free agency, and then got hurt. And
came back on the minimum, and then I don't know what he was making this year. But, yeah, it's a shame. It's a what could have been story. I mean, 5 years ago it looked like his trajectory was going to go up, and up. And you and I, and again, this is not to be like, well, we were right. You and I were both pretty skeptical that he was ever going to maintain that level.
Well, he also started listening to the wrong people.
But, once the patella rupture happened, forget it. I mean, it's basically
Did
been
you say
all downhill.
patella or patellar?
It's patella, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's an R in the end of that, right?
Is there?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. If there is, it's a very soft R. I'm not aware of
Hold
that.
on.
My wife is a medical professional.
I know it's
Well,
pronounced,
actually, you know what? We are in Indiana, so maybe it is patellar. Maybe it is patellar.
Hold on. I'm telling you, like, every once in a while I see it listed as.
Because I saw Oladipo driving down Washington Street,
That's right.
and that was a couple of weeks after his patellar
What grocery store was he headed towards?
surgery. Marshes. Yeah.
That's right. I'm looking it up now.
I'm pretty sure it's patella, bud.
I mean, I know it's how
Yeah.
you say it, but I'm telling
You're
you.
about to
like,
graduate college, so you really should know this before they hand you a degree.
What does that say right there? Read that headline there.
Perspectives. Miami Heat guard Victor Oladipo has suffered a season-ending torn patella injury in his left knee.
How's it spelled?
Well, it's a soft R.
That's
like
what
you
I said.
Yeah.
I didn't say you say the R. I'm saying it is spelled
Yeah,
with an
see,
R,
there
right?
it is up there. Yeah, patella.
Yeah, patella. But I know it's pronounced patella, right?
Yeah, not R, like you were saying. That's the wrong pronunciation of the word. It's patella.
I never said I said it with the R. I'm saying, which way do you say it?
The way that I said it originally, which is the correct way, patella, not patellar, which is what you were saying earlier. So Jake was another instance where Jake was wrong, I guess you could say about that. We've got more food to get to and more delicious drinks to drink, food to eat, sports to talk about. Chris Ballard had a lot to say. He said that he was a truth teller. I'm going to ask this guy if he believes that. I'm going to come back next and talk more about it. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much to our friends at Bailey and Wood Financial Group, BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME. We gave them a shout out for their $21,000 fundraiser for
Excellent.
the Whiteland tornado victims there with their flagship store right there in that community. And they posted on their Facebook page, which was kind of cool to see.
Did you give out their website?
Yeah, BAWFG.com. If you weren't on your phone, you were listening, you would have heard me.
Derek, I have
say
very
the website.
important business matters to take care of.
Okay.
here.
You're just looking up patella and
Hold on.
patellar.
No, we got
all
clarification
you're doing.
on that. We got clarification on that.
That's the business that you are attending to.
No, we
right
got
now.
clarification.
Okay.
Derek.
Turns
What?
out there are patella and patellar.
The tendon is the patellar, right?
Yeah, still a soft R.
Kneecap is the patella.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
What do you mean?
Well, if the kneecap is the patella, then wouldn't the tendon of the injury just be the patella tendon?
I don't know. I don't
You know what I
how
mean?
that works.
Like if you have an interstate and then you have the bypass, like the interstate, you would just call it's the 65 bypass or the 31 bypass. You don't rename it the 31er, right? What the hell are these people doing? Why don't they just ask me this stuff?
Chris Ballard spoke to the media last week and talked Colts, talked draft, and I wanted to get your take on some of what Chris Ballard, noted Chris Ballard fan, Jake Query, had to say
I
about
have
some of his quotes.
I'd like to think I'm pretty neutral on Chris Ballard.
I mean, I think so too.
I think he's a nice guy.
All kidding aside,
I think he's usually pretty honest.
one thing that sucks about like the have a take thing is that you have to like be strong one way
Derek,
or another.
let me clarify that though. I have no issue at all with Chris Ballard. I at times take exception to the perceptions of Chris Ballard.
Yeah. And you didn't like something that he said to you in an interview. You weren't in on the joke.
No, I think he was smug and arrogant.
Yeah. Like you didn't think it was funny.
I don't think he was trying to be funny.
Okay.
I think he was smug and arrogant.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that there was not a flashpoint that's making a mountain out of a molehill, but there was something that he said that you didn't like.
Well, what happened was, I mean, I'll tell you. Do you remember?
I remember it, I think. It was something about you not graduating college, right?
I asked a question to him at the beginning of the season. I said, "Hey, Chris, let me ask you a question." And I said, I'm actually finishing my college degree and I'm taking classes. And I said, and there's one assignment that I just can't grasp my head around how I'm going to start it. Like I just can't. It's like a mental block. And I said, when you're building a football team, what's that one assignment for you? What's the one that just like you're like, man, it's tough for me. And he answered the question. Then later in the interview, Kevin Bowen asked him, do you feel pressure at your job? And he said, no, because I'll be able to get another job because I actually do have a college degree. I thought it was smug and arrogant.
Yeah.
And I think listeners thought it was smug and arrogant based on the reactions.
That is kind of a mean thing.
At the end of the season, Chris Ballard put his tails between his legs, and I'll give him credit for it, put his tail between the legs, and basically had a mea culpa of I was smug and arrogant this year. Not about me, but just in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll give him credit for that. I think he's good at what he does. I don't think he's elite, and I think he's been perceived as elite. But now is the time for him to show that.
Speaking of pressure, he was asked that in one of his more interesting quotes from the presser last week.
This quote does bother me.
Quote, I think you all feel, meaning the media, the people in the room, pressure more than I do sometimes. When you do the work, the pressure is not as great as what people make it out to be.
I mean,
it doesn't mean that you're always going to be right, but you always put in the work, and there's not a lot of angst within you. I didn't know if that made sense to you all. I think what he's saying is, I don't feel pressure because, look, the results are what they are. I know my process is sound, basically, is what he's saying, right?
You are running one of the top sports franchises in the United States of America, if not the world. If that doesn't automatically come with the pressure, then that means that you have no expectation to succeed.
I guess admitting that, like, no one...
I get what he's saying, but it's a swing and a miss.
No one would blow him any smoke for saying, do I feel pressure? Of course I do. It's a high-pressure situation. And any of the 31 of my colleagues in the NFL feel pressure every day. Like, no one would bat an eyelash at that, right? If that was the quote, instead of... I don't get kind of getting defensive about that question. Like, I feel like everyone faces pressure. Players, coaches...
Speaking of batting an eyelash, is he Botoxing?
All of it. No, I don't think so.
He's very wrinkle-free in
He
this
takes care of
area.
himself.
He's a nice-looking guy.
Yeah, he takes care of himself.
He's in very good shape. But in this area, he looks very tight.
I don't know what his skincare...
Not there. But, like, if you look at him lately in press conferences, he looks very tight in this area, like right in
He
here.
might have a skincare regimen. I don't know what it is, but...
He's a nice-looking guy.
Yeah, I want to copy it, actually. He needs to put that on a blog or something, and I can maybe put it on Instagram, get a skincare reg, see what he's doing every night.
Okay. That comment, Derek, about the pressure thing, I get what he's saying, and he's kind of trying to deflect a little bit. And I think Chris Ballard's one of those guys that, like, and I give him credit here. I don't think that he overly worries what people think of him. But I think that changed a little bit when Jim Irsay came out at the owners' meeting and said, yeah, I need to start seeing some results. We've never heard that before from Jim Irsay about Chris Ballard.
Good point.
But Ballard's job is to not worry about what's said about him. And in defense of Chris Ballard, if Chris Ballard were to critique me or you, that's fair because our job is to critique him. So we should be able to take it as well, right?
Yeah.
When he said, like, I think you guys feel more pressure, I think what he was saying there was, look, you guys are talking about this more than I am. Deep down, he's got to feel that pressure. and you want to know that he feels that pressure. But football is a sport, Derek, of machismo. I'm a tough guy. Nothing bothers me. So you've got to act like you're above it.
No, and I get that. But, I mean, he's been in the league.
It's a false bravado.
He's been in the league 15 years, and on Thursday he's going to make the biggest decision that he's made in 15 years, right? So there's got to be pressure that comes with that.
And he's kicked that can forever.
Yeah, there's got to be pressure.
He's painted himself into this corner. The Colts have painted themselves into the corner where they have to take a quarterback because they've tried every other variation. They tried to go with the rookie that they drafted. It didn't work out. They tried to go with a veteran that they signed and hoped to get a second year out of. It didn't work out. They tried to go with a veteran who was 900 years old and they thought maybe there was something left in him. It didn't work out. They tried to go with the veteran that they'd signed that was his backup and had success with Frank Reich elsewhere. It didn't work out. They tried a veteran that they thought was going to be their long-term veteran answer in Carson Wentz. Didn't work out. They painted themselves into a corner.
They have a situation here where they're going to have at least one of a pretty well-regarded four-quarterback class available to them. If they pass on this situation, there's no telling that in 2024 or 2025 they're going to be in a better situation than they are right now.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the problem. People saying, well, I'm not really sold on any of the quarterbacks this year. Well, look, if the Colts next year go 6-11 and they're drafting 7th, and we're to assume that Williams and May go 1-2, then how are they sitting in next year's class? You know, who they taking then? I haven't looked at the 2024 quarterbacks because we've been spending so much time on 2023.
I mean, this time a year ago,
what are they doing?
This time a year ago, did you think anything about Anthony Richardson?
No.
Or Will Levis?
No. I mean, I knew who Will Levis was,
right.
But yeah, no, I didn't.
I mean, the other two you kind of knew, like, hey, they were going to.
Sure, you knew about those two.
There's probably some quarterback right now at Utah State that's like, he threw for 4,000 yards this year and he's got a big arm. And, okay.
Got a lot of arm talent. That's what always ends up happening. A couple of other Ballard quotes on the speculation quote. I love to read the reports that the Colts love this guy and they're dialed in on this guy. Like, who did that come from? It didn't come from me. Who's it coming from? Nobody knows. I do think that he's right about that. This actually dates back to the Pullian days. The Colts are very, very close to the vest with
Correct.
things. They don't. A lot of things don't leak. The things, to give you kind of a peek behind the curtain for people that don't know, I think some fans do know this. Whenever there was something that got out,
it's not the peek behind the shower curtain, right? Because we know that
we have that picture. By the way, Vince, get that in the queue and get that ready. There we go. Yeah, we have that at the ready. Anytime you want. You say shower pick, boom. Just make it happen. Do we still make those lights, the clap on, clap off lights?
The clapper.
We should just do that.
Plug in.
Jordan is our genius behind the scenes. I bet Vince can do this as well. Those guys are like super like tech brainy. I want to do something where just I can give an audio cue to the shower pick. So like that into the mic, boom, chest hair.
Thank you. Bailey and Wood. Thank you for bailing us out there. No.
You like? People listening to the podcast are so confused right now. They have no idea. If you guys want a copy of this picture,
They're the luckiest human beings on the planet. What they're missing out on is a picture of you stepping out of the shower with a squirrel on your chest.
I just thought of
Horrific.
This isn't really a thing anymore. I'm going to make this into an NFT, and you can purchase it. We'll do that. We'll offer it on CoreyandSchultz.com, and you can use like.
Do you know the last guy that did that?
Dogecoin or whatever.
Dogecoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin.
I've got 20 of those.
You can use.
I bought them for. Let me see how.
You can buy an NFT of this.
Let me
here.
check out the ROI on
Keep
my
it forever.
Dogecoin. No,
on your phone, you can make it your
Is that
avatar.
still a thing? Those
if you really want to.
Those what are they called?
Bitcoin stuff.
No, the
cryptocurrency.
The NFT deal.
No, NFT. I don't think so. I think it kind of crashed and burned and went away. To give you a peek behind the curtain, when the big stories got out, the one exception that I can think of with this is when JMV broke the Manning third neck surgery news. That was, he legitimately had somebody in there that said that to him, and obviously it ended up being true, and that's a huge, huge story. Most of the other big Colts stories since I've been covering them for 15 or so years have been Irsay calling Mortensen or Irsay calling somebody else.
Correct.
That's the leak. It comes straight from the owner. It's not somebody like the scouting department and the Colts brass. The names and faces have changed. I mean, hell, they've had 3 GMs, right? You've had Pullian, you've had Gregson, and now you've had Ballard. Notoriously have been tight-lipped about things. So I actually kind of agree with Ballard there that I don't know where all the Levis stuff is coming from.
Fair.
I mean, look, do I think that they could take Will Levis? Maybe they really – yeah, absolutely. I think that maybe they like Will Levis, but people are acting like it's almost like some sort of a fait accompli that he's the pick if he's there at 4.
Supposedly Peyton Manning likes him a lot.
Yeah.
I guess that
Well,
helps,
they do.
right?
They do listen to Manning, don't they?
Yeah.
And then on how the top 3 picks will go, Ballard essentially said nobody knows. But I think we know how one's going to go. At this point, it's going to be Young. But again, Jake, as I said at the top of the show, Houston holds so much power in their hands right now at 2. Wouldn't it be the ultimate Houston thing that they passed because they only loved Bryce Young, and that meaningless game that they came back to win against the Colts in Week 17 cost them the guy
Lovie
that they
Smith
truly
did him
loved.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it is time for our American Dairy Association of Indiana Winners Drink Milk Winner of the Week award. Of course, that means that Derek is supposed to be able to present the milk facts. He will not because he always forgets them. But did you know that, for example, the mini marathon upcoming, you might be training for that. You might be running the mini marathon and afterwards looking for a refreshment that replenishes the protein and what you need, all of the electrolytes, easier for me to say. Chocolate milk is the perfect post-workout beverage. That's because chocolate milk contains as much vitamin A as
2 hard-boiled eggs.
No.
10 cups of spinach.
Yes. It contains as much potassium as
A banana.
yes. It contains as much protein as
2 hard-boiled eggs.
yes. Well done, Derek.
Yeah. It's
Well
the
done.
first thing when I get home from throwing my ish around at the JCC, shirt off, pants off, milk. That's the 3 things that I do, right in order.
You have a shirt on when you're throwing your ish around at the JCC?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wear clothes, but then when I'm at home again, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Shirt off, pants off,
You
milk.
walk around naked?
No, I have my boxers or boxer briefs on, and then I usually I shower right after I chug the milk. Get all that fuel back up in you, and then rinse all that work off in the shower and scrub it right off.
Can I do that for Bailey and Wood? Please. Thank
Okay.
you.
Wait, no, we don't want the clap activation for Jake, just me.
No.
So
Trust me.
yeah, we'll get that in post.
No, trust me.
3, 2, 1. So we'll get that. We don't do the clap activation for Jake. Fastest rookie luncheon, by the way, Tuesday, May 23rd. So, God, what are we, 4 weeks out? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think that we're 4 weeks out from that. It's just who we're talking about. Anybody that loves CJ Stroud. Because there's got to be somebody out there. Maybe it's the Colts. Maybe it's Atlanta. Maybe it's Vegas. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be somebody out there
This is good.
that's looking at what Houston's going to do at 2 and making a strategy based on what that's going to be. And maybe your strategy is to sit around and wait and see if Stroud falls to you. I don't know. But I got a feeling if Houston goes, let's say they go Will Anderson, who's the popular pick at number 2. Let's say the Texans take Anderson. Arizona's phone starts ringing off the hook. Just crazy with teams blowing them up. And not necessarily for Stroud, but I think maybe even for Richardson because the whole draft opens up at that point. But I think the winner of the week clearly with this S2's test, whatever weight you put on that, is teams that really like CJ Stroud because it looks like he's not going in the top 2 picks at this point.
So you
Looks like he's definitely not going to Houston. I mean, Houston might still take a quarterback at 2, but it doesn't look like it's going to be Stroud. Winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Could Houston take Richardson?
Yeah, I haven't seen him linked there. The guy that I've seen linked there is Levis.
You have the most disgusting sounds when you consume liquids or candies.
They've done studies on this where if you are really bothered by the sounds of other people eating or drinking, you have like some sort of a brain disorder. I'm serious. Like you have some sort of there's like a brain condition.
No, they've done studies that if you can't drink milk without sounding like you are like a running gullet in Yellowstone, you're the one with the
I
disorder.
drink it normal. I don't see. Look, I'll let everybody else decide. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
Our podcast listeners just got that in HD.
It's disgusting. And
'Cause
don't
I
even get
enhance
me
the audio.
started on when you eat hard candy. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
You don't like it when I chew gum. You don't like anything that I do, really. You don't like how I drive.
Who is around you more than anybody in your life?
Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't like any of that stuff either.
Well, what do you know? Right?
I don't know if Ashley likes me at all.
Well, what else do we have in
That's
common?
the problem.
You know? With the exception of the fact she was at your birthday party.
She was at my birthday. She likes me enough to throw me a surprise 40th birthday party and fly installment from Los Angeles. So I appreciated that. We've got our Hoagies and Hops Hoagie and Hero of the Week, plus our Chili Water Beer of the Week still to get to. Some quick hits. NBA playoffs talk as well. And I know we've been Colts heavy today, but one more thing that I wanted to touch on with Jake is Shaq Leonard potentially done. We'll talk about that as well. It's Corey and Schultz. Episode 133 on ISC.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Welcome back to Corey and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group here on ISC. We're going to do a little science experiment here.
There's no science
to
experiment
see your
about
brain
it.
disorder here when it comes to this, which studies have proven. So our buddy Rakestraw, Rake's really good at knowing content. He said it'd be great if you just ate a hard candy and let everybody decide if it's annoying or whatever else. So I'll eat a hard candy, which is completely normal to do. Millions of Americans do this every second of every day. Done. Is that annoying? No, because you don't have a brain disorder like Jake does.
Have you seen Dumb and Dumber?
There's like a neurological disconnect that you have if you are annoyed by that. They've done studies. I have seen Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? I think we just did.
We just did? Okay.
And that's nothing compared to Jolly Ranchers. One time you were eating Jolly Ranchers at our old place, and I was inside the studio. You actually had an office. I was sitting in the studio watching Guns N' Roses' 1991 Deer Creek concert on YouTube, and I had to shut the door.
I cracked a crown.
No
Jolly
surprise.
Rancher. Yeah. I have to get a dental implant now. So they said no more Jolly Ranchers, which is a bummer for me.
You're not supposed to chew Jolly Ranchers. They're not gum.
Shaquille Leonard, I'm done with Jolly Ranchers. Maybe Shaquille Leonard is done with football. That's obviously an extreme thing. But he talked to the media last week as well, just like Chris Ballard did. And I thought some of what he said was interesting. And Jake, unfortunately, it did not make me very optimistic about where he is. Now, he said he feels better right now than he did at any point last year. Look, that's just what guys are going to say, right? Even if that's true, I always take that with a major grain of salt. But one thing that I had trouble getting past was Leonard spoke about, kind of his mental health going south and then thinking about if he's ever going to be the same player. Quote, there's been so many times where I'm thinking, will I ever be back to 5'3"? Will I ever be back to the Maniac? There's times when I watch the film of my old self and find that reassurance of who I am, and I never want to lose sight of who I was and who I can still become. So, he's saying the right thing, right? But just thinking of him sitting in a room pondering that kind of tells me how serious this situation has been for him health-wise.
Can I just say, first off, not only was your mint chewing awful, but now this entire studio smells like Ben Gay.
I love mints, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
I mean, it's fine, except for that, my eyes are watering from the menthol that's.
Does my breath smell good?
No. You smell? Are you smoking your menthol cigarettes again?
Oh, could go for. Actually, no, it's too cold. First nice day in May. I'll be craving it. I'm not going to have one, but I'll be craving a menthol. I'll have to call my sponsor. Make sure that doesn't happen.
You try to get
My menthol sponsor, yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Supports you?
Yes.
Okay.
Supports me. He does.
Derek, couple of things here with Shaquille Leonard. Number one, been a wonderful player. But if you take away, it's probably true of a lot of players, but if you take away the 2% extra motor that he has, then he's a very average player.
Yeah.
And if he is not able to go to that extra 2% gear, then he goes from being a Porsche to a Honda Accord. It's perfectly sufficient, but you need a Porsche in your linebacker spot, especially the Colts.
What made him an all-pro is not that he's some physical freak. It's
Correct.
that he's a guy that is
Nonstop
a killer.
motor. Yeah.
He's just no nonsense.
He's been a great player. But the injury, it's like Jim Irsay said about Andrew Luck when he said at some point injuries are between the ears. And when you start psychologically thinking about your body not agreeing with you, you're in a world of hurt. And I think we're going to know a lot by Saturday morning. Because if the Colts draft a linebacker on Thursday or Friday, they're not going to on Thursday, obviously. But if they do it in the first couple of rounds, or if they trade up to get one, then that tells you a lot about what may be going on with him.
Backs and necks, man. Those are the two that freak me out the most. Knee injuries have almost become, knee injury, who cares? He's fine. Even this Achilles stuff, people are bouncing back from that all the time. It's just necks and backs just feel like there's always the potential that they're not going to quite be right ever again, or they're going to flare up, or it's going to be a pain thing. I feel for him. Look, I don't think he's played his last NFL game or anything like that, but I think that the days of Darius Leonard ever replicating who he was 2018, Shaquille Leonard ever replicating who he was 2018 through 21 might be gone.
Easiest way to say it is Shaquille Leonard may never again be Darius.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good way to put it, unfortunately. And it makes me sad that that's the case.
What sandwich do we have here? Because it looks outstanding.
We have here the Shipyard. And I'm going to bring up Rakestraw again, second time in one segment. I'm going to bring up Rakestraw. I don't remember the exact quote from Rakestraw. He didn't call this the most underrated sandwich, but this is just, of all of the sandwiches.
You're not going to swear again, are you?
No, it's like an elevated tuna sandwich. Because let's face it, I think tuna gets a bad rap a little bit. I love tuna, but I think tuna gets a little bit of a bad rap. And people think, well, I'm not going to go out and get a tuna sandwich. I can make that at my house. You can't make this at your house. You can't. This is the Shipyard. It is unmakeable at home. Okay. So this is Christina's in-house tuna sal, shaved onion, tomato, lettuce like you're used to, a little bit of oil on there. You know the cheese she puts on this? Parmesan. Parm on tuna. So parm, little oil. It's just a really, really good standout.
It is good. Don't swear, please.
Peppers.
What?
The pepper true.
I'll talk about what we have from Chili Water. This is the Dark Side of the Munich. Dunkel Lager. But it's fabulous. A darker beer, obviously, from Chili Water. Chili Water attached right next to Hoagies and Hops there on, I always forget, Derek, Boulevard give me the address. 42nd and Boulevard?
Right on Midtown.
42nd and Boulevard. Chili Water. And Chili Water also, by the way, has a tap room in Fountain Square, which is fantastic.
Peppadew peppers. I forgot to mention on there.
But that is a darker beer, but very smooth.
It's just an elevated. It's the best tuna sandwich I've ever had in my life.
It's good.
It is the best tuna sandwich I've ever had in my life.
It's very good.
Really, really good. So the Shipyard, check that out. Hoagies and Hops, they cater to. Hoagiesandhops.com. Hero of the week. I think I'd mentioned this earlier. I'm a little bit in the tank.
It's like 7 ums.
Sorry. I'd mentioned I'm a little bit in the tank for the Knicks earlier. Personal fandom. I did not have personal fanship of this team, but Jake, did you have any of those teams as a kid where whether it's like the uniforms, the color scheme, the city that they play in, you're like, yeah, I always kind of root for that team.
Yeah.
And
Houston
there was some
Oilers.
Yeah, The Pittsburgh Pirates were that for me.
Seattle Seahawks.
They had Andy Van Slyke and Bonds and Bonilla and Doug Drabeck when I was a kid, and they were really competitive. And I was always like, yeah, if not for the Yankees, then I kind of like the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then, of course, they've been the longtime affiliate now of the Indianapolis Indians. Right. So our hero of the week is the Pirates because you know what their record is right now?
14-7.
15-7. I forgot. You guys do those daily updates on your show, don't you? Where you guys actually talk baseball.
Look right here.
They just swept the Reds. They gave up like 2 runs the entire weekend against the Reds. Poor Reds. They've given up 3 runs or fewer in 11 straight games. But don't get too excited. Do you know how many? There are 30 Major League Baseball teams, right? Do you know how many Major League Baseball teams since 2019? Thanks to our friend Joe Sheehan for pointing this out. Since 2019, do you know how many of the 30 MLB teams have had a stretch of 15-7 or better?
Since what year?
Since 2019.
12.
29 of the 30 teams. The only team that hasn't done that is Miami. So it just shows baseball is about samples. Even a bad baseball team over the course of the season is going to win 15 of 22.
Joe Sheen is the one that I always got along with because we talked about Casey Kasem. Who's the other?
Aaron Schatz you did not like.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Even though he's great. He's still doing FO.
You remember when he sat down with our
I loved it. I loved it. I was starstruck. I was speechless.
It was ridiculous. We ran into him at the Combine. We
were at the old Ram or something, weren't we?
We were third wheeling it one night with us at the Combine. And we sit down and you're like, oh, there's Aaron Schatz over there. And I'm like, oh, hey. And he like saddles up and pulled up a chair and started ordering and like completely railroaded our dinner.
When he reached over to eat some of your fries, I thought that was a little much. Yeah. I thought that was – we did invite him to the table, but when – it's not like family style dining. Everybody had their own thing, and I think he was a little bit confused by that. But yeah, good for the Pirates. Hero of the week, and good for the beers as well with the Dark Side of the Munich. I'm Schultz, so I'm genetically predisposed to enjoy this beer.
Yeah,
it's good.
Catching up to do. I mean, I'm halfway through the album here.
It's very good. Yeah, you cracked that like the second that you sat down.
Of course. We
have NBA playoffs to get to. Quick hits to get to, just more stuff. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back to Query and Schultz. Again, you just saw the American Dairy Association of Indiana represented. Thanks again for having us out. May 23rd, I believe Derek said, the fastest rookie luncheon. And we will again be emceeing that event, a great tradition. And the milk toast, what was that?
Mustache. I'm going to have the mustache for the rookie dealio.
Why?
Because race week.
Yeah, no. You do the mustache just for Carb Day.
I was going to do it all of race week. The reception has been so overwhelming, the celebration of the mustache, that I was going to do all of race week.
You look like an idiot.
I haven't even trimmed it. I haven't trimmed it all Actually, I trimmed it on April 9th. So this is from April 9th right here. I got a little tune-up right there. Don't zoom in too quick, but April 9th for the mustache. That is good. It's the best tuna sandwich I've ever had in my life.
You look like a cross between Tim Richmond and Freddie Mercury.
Thank you. Two legends. R.I.P. to both. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for saying that.
Okay.
I mean, there are worse people to be compared to than a world-class driver and an unbelievable legendary singer. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm just saying they had 80s mustaches. John Oates. You look like John Oates.
What I've kind of come to learn about mustaches is that the people that hate on them are the ones that can't grow them.
Dale Earnhardt.
Again. Like, I don't see anything up here at all.
Yeah, by design, Derek.
You haven't shaved in a couple of days, and I can't see anything.
Okay.
So I get that there are certain aspects of me that you are jealous of.
I can't grow a mustache?
You can't grow a mustache.
No. I choose not to. Like, I can
because you can't.
I can wear a leisure suit. I just choose not to. You know why? Okay. Because they haven't been in vogue in 35 years.
You know what, guys? It's not that I can't dunk. It's that I choose not to. Choose not to dunk. You choose not to grow a mustache because you can't grow one. You want to try?
No.
Don't shave for the next month. Just don't shave. No one's going to say anything. Shannon might be pissed. Whatever. Shannon's in for the long haul at this point. She's put up with you 20 years. Mustache isn't going to do you in. So try to grow something, and then we'll compare.
You've seen, first off, okay, right in here, I mean, when I get the 5 o'clock shadow, like George Michael-esque, totally sexy. Like, people tell me all the time.
You got nothing going on up here.
That's not true.
Yeah, you got nothing going on.
Totally not true.
Nothing.
Especially if I'm tan and this comes in and it's a little.
You get a little salt and peppery on the sides. You got nothing going on up top.
Let me tell you, I'm not even allowed when I grow, and I want people to know this and be very clear of this. Very clear of this. When I grow my 5 o'clock shadow with a tan, I'm not allowed within 100 miles of Antarctica because everything melts.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Shouldn't have brought it up at all.
We already have enough issue with that as it is, with the sea levels rising. I know because I'm taking a geology class right now, and I'm just telling you.
Quickly, NBA playoffs, because we're into our quick hits here. I'm always worried about getting too in-depth with NBA playoffs because we're taping this right now on Monday, and you know what I mean? It's like time-sensitive. But certainly the Lakers, at least as of right now, in control of their series. The Warriors bouncing back. The Knicks look like they're on the brink of advancing.
I'd say the Lakers are in control.
You're in control until you're not in the NBA playoffs, right?
Granted, that Dylan Brooks has melted down. But
I do think that the one team that no one's talking about, the only team to sweep in the first round, especially if Milwaukee loses to Miami, Jake, maybe this is the year for Philly finally.
Yeah,
Philly hasn't even been out of the conference semis.
But Derek, you also have Joel Embiid, who's 50%
true
to play in the second, the next round.
But I mean, if Milwaukee goes down, suddenly the lid blows off the East.
Boston's winning the
lid blows off.
Boston is winning the East.
I'm not ready to go there until Milwaukee's out. But the lid blows off the East if Milwaukee. I mean, hell, the Knicks could come out of the East if Milwaukee loses.
Boston is winning the East, and when they do, then Derek will say, "You know what? You're right." I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Well, choose not to grow a mustache. What a joke. Bed Bath & Beyond, soon to be gone forever. Retail giant filed for bankruptcy last week. It's going to close all their stores. Once a power with $8 billion in annual sales, they were, guess what, slow to adjust to online shopping. So I always thought Bed Bath & Beyond was a ripoff. We would only go in there to buy the one item that you could get with the 20% off coupon. Remember they'd always send you that coupon?
No.
Okay, well, they sent you a 20% off coupon all the time. And so we just go in and buy like one item at a time.
I didn't have a bed until like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. What would you need to do?
Never take a bath. I take a shower.
Well, and we buy stuff at Bye Bye Baby too, which was a Bed Bath & Beyond store.
Is it still there?
It's also closing. All the Bye Bye
Baby. Does that mean like you're saying goodbye to your
BUY Baby. We bought a lot of the James Baby stuff there.
Okay.
My dad called it, I can't believe it's a baby. And we're like, no, Dad, that's not the name of the store. It's Bye Bye Baby.
Bye Bye Baby makes it sound like you're abandoning your baby.
It's a little weird, yeah. Finally, in quick hits, Elon takes our blue checks. Unless you have 1 million followers or you pay for Twitter, you do not have a blue check.
Isn't it now? Aren't you embarrassed if you have a blue check?
It's
a bad look, right?
It's really stupid.
It kind of exposed people of like, wait a minute, so they paid for that?
It's really stupid anyway that we're fighting about this. But he made it that way. Like, Elon is the one that made this stupid. That wasn't our fault that the blue checks became stupid. Like, you couldn't possibly have handled this whole thing more poorly. Why couldn't you just keep legacy verification And then if somebody's a Twitter blue, just put a little blue Twitter bird next to their name, right? How hard would that be? We've already got multiple emojis now next to people's names. Who cares? Instead,
I saw people having to like defend the fact that they've got a blue check mark.
Oh, it's ridiculous. They're really stupid.
We have to get to Love That Play as well.
Yeah, we have Love That Play, and we have Bite or Bull Bleep. Still to come. Here on the show.
Love That Play, by the way, brought to you by the good guys at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Love-HVAC.com. Been around for over 100 years in Central Indiana. I've known these guys my entire life. I would not steer you folks wrong. If you are kind enough, especially if you're listening at this point, to this program, then we certainly appreciate it. And I want you to be treated like family, which is exactly how Love Heating and Air Conditioning will treat you. Love-HVAC.com for all of your heating and air conditioning needs. Now is the time to make sure your air conditioning is up and running for the summertime. 317-353-2141. That's 317-353-2141. Our favorite play of the week. Derek?
This isn't a play as much as it is a event, a happening. And I love that you love this program because I loved this program when I was a kid. Colorado sold out their spring game. Almost 50,000 fans to see Deion Sanders' head coaching debut. And it's so cool for me because that in the 90s, it was a very small window. Like, look, I know even into the 80s, through the 90s, they were good competitive teams. But from like 1991 through 95, Colorado was like almost like the Oregon of that era, where
it was school, man.
If you saw somebody wearing like Colorado gear, you were like, oh my God, like where did you get that? Like it was like almost a status symbol.
It's a great logo
type thing. The black and gold, it was just really cool. And they've had one winning season. I'm not counting the COVID season. They were 4-2 in the COVID season. They've had one winning season since 2005.
It's crazy.
One. And that's just not right. Like the Colorado, remember John Elway throwing the Vortex football at the Colorado Stadium, and you see this, it's spelled out Colorado in the end zone. Yeah. Like it's so picturesque and awesome.
Mork and Mindy.
Yeah. Wait, what is that? The
Mork and Mindy. Robin Williams and Pam Dauber. He's an alien that comes down, Nanu from Mork from Ork. He's from the planet Ork, and then he lives with Mindy, and like Letterman was on it. Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy. In our days and our nights.
No, that's no.
Mork and Mindy of our wrongs and our rights. I remember that show, I think. Tony Danza? Was he like, he was the brother or the neighbor?
That's who's
the boss. He'd come over, knock on the door. Okay, whatever that was, yeah. Anyway, great start for the Deion Sanders era. I mean, it can't get any worse. So, normally, I would be like, Deion Sanders, the coach. Come on, man. Colorado has nothing to lose with this. They've been terrible. They've been DOA for almost 20 years.
It's school again, right?
Yeah. So at the very least, you're going to have some fun here with Deion Sanders in charge. So we'll see how it goes for them. Chateau Kitchens, Bite or Bull Bleep. When we come back, we will wrap it up. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time. Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us.
I have the Charles in Charge theme stuck in my head, and I'm blaming you.
Blame me for everything. Blame me for
And it
chewing
smells
mints,
like Ben Gay in here.
singing 80s songs, and growing a sexy full mustache, which you cannot grow.
Okay.
So, blame me all you want. Chateau Kitchens is at my house right now, finishing my basement. They've got all the drywall up. We put the floor leveler down.
What kind of floor are you going with?
Vinyl plywood. No, not plywood. Vinyl plank.
Okay.
I know it was a P word.
Are you going to plank in your basement? It's part of a workout?
Sure. Do people still do that? Remember that whole thing, planking?
Yeah.
For a while where you just go in random. What was that, like 2012, I want to say?
Yeah, that's about right.
And then there was Tebowing, where you would go and do the Tebow praying thing. And I had one friend, a buddy of mine, Nick Jones, that was really into all of those. So he did like planking and Tebowing, and that was basically.
And then people started like falling off
entire
cliffs
Facebook.
for Instagram photos, and that ended.
Yeah,
all
got a little overboard, I think. Chateau Kitchens will never go overboard. If they go overboard in anything, it's classiness, because they're going to make your space look amazing, whether it's a kitchen, a bathroom, or my basement. Chateau Kitchens will take care of you like they're taking care of me on multiple projects. ChateauKitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook as well. If you're new to Bite or Bowl Bleep, here's what we do.
Okay.
Give a statement. Jake and I go back and forth whether we bite or it's Bowl Bleep. You ready for statement one?
Yep.
Here it is. There will not be a franchise quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft class.
Buy it.
Bite or Bowl Bleep.
Buy it. I think there might be some serviceable players. I mean, do you consider Tua Tagovailoa a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I mean,
he's the ceiling to me of these.
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
that's still TBD to probably not.
Okay.
Is where I'd put Tua.
Yeah, that's where I'd put these guys. I think there's 4 good players, but franchise, I don't think so.
Yeah, but here's the problem. If I'm not mistaken, if I have my draft class right, Burrow and Herbert were also in that class, weren't they? And they both really hit.
Right, but no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Tua to me is the.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say
Stroud
Bowl
might be.
Bleep. I'm playing the percentages here.
Yeah.
I've got a 1 in 4 shot probably. And if you look really, if you do this up, if you go through all the NFL drafts here recently and you add up all these quarterbacks, you have about a 20 to 25% shot, I think is what it is, of a guy being like a really good longtime starter. So you have 4 pretty well-regarded prospects with a 5th being a wild card in Hendon Hooker. I would think one of those 5 end up being a franchise-level quarterback.
Right.
I'm not talking like Pat Mahomes. I'm talking like Matt Stafford level franchise quarterback. So I'll say Bowl Bleep on that. We didn't talk about this at all. The NHL has the best postseason of any professional
Yeah, it's
sport.
pretty good. It's pretty darn good.
I mean, it's just so intense,
It
right?
is.
It's just
It is.
what I
Derek.
like about the NHL is also what I don't like about the NHL, and that's really the home ice has no bearing whatsoever.
Right.
You know, road teams go and win all the time. A lot of times the
And
better
teams get down
don't
like
win.
3-1 and come back and win 3 straight.
It's very random. In basketball, in the NBA in a 7-game series, I would say upwards of 90% of the time the better team wins. I don't even know if it's a 50-50 thing in hockey, to be totally honest with you.
You need a hot goaltender, man.
And they have this long regular season, and it just doesn't mean anything. And I get that other regular seasons are long and meaningless too, but the NHL's to me is just the longest and most meaningless.
Straight my hair. Do you know that when I grow out my 5 o'clock shadow
And no upper lip, yeah.
and I'm guarding the net, people call me the hot goaltender?
No lip. They call you No Lip Jake
Okay.
because there's nothing up here. This is just a beautiful, fertile ground to grow things, grow luscious hairs. Still got a little tune-up there. Statement 3, this stretch is the most frustrating stretch of weather every year. Buy it or Bowl Bleep?
Well, no, because at least no. Early November is because you know that you're getting ready to go into a tunnel and you're just delaying the inevitable. This, at least you know there is promise on the other side.
Yeah, but you keep waiting for that promise and you get teased with it?
I get it, but you know it's coming.
I don't know. I buy it. What's frustrating to me, and it messes with my sinuses, it's 80 degrees and then it's 30 degrees.
It's
and
tough.
then, you know.
Well, you get up in the morning, you got to put a jacket on.
Do I wear shorts? Do I wear short sleeves? Do I wear a coat? Do I not wear a coat? Do I take the coat off later in the day?
Anything you have is listed as shorts.
It's just, it's bad. I'm getting the wrap-up sign from JD.
Good.
Jeez. They just,
Mercifully.
Yeah, they just don't like us over there. Thanks to all of our
You did an
great
extra
sponsors.
segment. You realize that, right?
Bailey and Wood Financial Group, I did?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think so.
No, you
Chateau Kitchens, Lou Malnati's studio sponsorship.
What do you think of these
Winners Drink
sunglasses?
Milk in the American Dairy
What is it?
Association
What
of
is it?
Indiana.
Yeah,
Hoagies
man.
and Hops, plus Chili Water Brewing,
They're clear.
42nd and Boulevard in Midtown.
Yay or nay?
And Love Heating and Cooling. I'd say nay on those. Okay. For Jay Query, I'm Derek Schultz.
Probably
grower
so.
of the mustaches. We will see you in May next time here on Query and Schultz.